Am I the a-hole for telling my ex-best friend the truth, which resulted in our friend group splitting up? FYI, before reading, names, locations, and certain events have been changed for anonymity. I'm sure that if anyone involved ever came across this, there would definitely be receipts for everything. There are some parts I am leaving out, but everything mentioned does have context and purpose. I will try to keep this as short as possible, even though this situation spans about 4 to 5 months minimum. I, 23F, met this friend group about 2 years ago, around this time last year. The group consisted of 3 girls and myself, Dolly, Lana, Jeannie, and Jolene and me. We met through mutual friends at a New Year's Eve party. We all had similar hobbies, fashion tastes, likes and dislikes. We would go clubbing, shopping, or even play video games at home together. We hit it off right away, and we all became close, or so I thought. For context, when I met everyone, they were all in relationships except for me. Also important context, I'm a person of color. This will matter later. There is an anime convention I go to every year, and this year I wanted to invite my new friends. Jeannie couldn't make it, but Lana and Dolly did. Our main character here, Dolly, 23F, was going through an extremely rough patch with her boyfriend just before the convention. She lived with him and his family. He was being disrespectful, misogynistic, and had recently started harassing her. He treated her so poorly that her family was worried about her. That December, both of them were supposed to be away on vacations, and they were both worried the other would cheat. Dolly even mentioned going back and forth on the idea of meeting someone at the convention. However, she also kept insisting, absence makes the heart grow fonder. When the convention came around, Lana and her boyfriend got their own room, which left Dolly and me sharing a room. We cosplayed all 3 days, but the first day was the most important. While waiting for Lana and her boyfriend to meet up with us, Dolly and I were walking around when another cosplayer stopped us. Enter our male lead, Carlos. He recognized our cosplay, took a quick picture, and we exchanged goodbyes. Dolly and I glanced at each other and agreed he was really attractive, then moved on with our day, at least I did. Dolly brought him up repeatedly while we were walking, which I found a bit strange, but I ignored it. Later that day, I spotted Carlos again and asked Dolly if she wanted to exchange social media with him. She was extremely shy at first, but I encouraged her, saying he seemed cool and they might just end up being friends. Eventually, she agreed. I walked over to Carlos to show him our completed group cosplay. He instantly recognized us and noticed our other 2 friends. I nudged Dolly to give him her social, and after what felt like pulling teeth, she finally asked. On the second day of the convention, Dolly talked to me about her conflicting feelings regarding Carlos and her current boyfriend. As a good friend, I gave her advice about handling things the right way if she felt that strongly. I told her she needed to seriously weigh her options, especially since she was still living with her boyfriend. That night, we all went to a rave that was not at the convention center. We only had 1 car, and walking back to the hotel would have taken about 30 minutes in 20-degree weather. This will be important later. Once inside, we got drinks and started dancing. Dolly wasn't really in the mood because she was too focused on Carlos. As a group, we went outside to the pool area for fresh air. Dolly told me Carlos was also at the rave but said she was too nervous to find him. So, being a good wingman, I went into the crowd to look for him. I found him pretty quickly. He recognized me and asked where the rest of the group was, so I guided him outside. Dolly spent most of her time talking to Carlos. Lana was drinking, her boyfriend was watching her, and I stepped away to be by myself for a bit. At the end of the night, we were ready to leave, but Dolly insisted on staying longer with Carlos. I knew the walk back would be brutal, so I told her to be careful and to text me when she was on her way. My friends drove me back to the hotel. I texted her around 2 a.m. and got no response. Around 3 or 4 a.m., I heard a knock at the door. I opened it and found Dolly standing there. "Hey, can Carlos stay for a bit?" I blinked. I was half asleep. I looked past her and saw Carlos standing there, someone she had met about 5 hours earlier, now at my hotel door. She explained that his hotel was far away, his friends didn't have enough beds, he didn't want to sleep on the floor, and he was really tired. The idea of a stranger in my room, who also knew a group of guys he could invite over, made me uneasy. Still, I figured I could stay awake, and I was just relieved Dolly was safe, so I agreed. At first, Dolly laid next to me, then got up and moved to the other bed to cuddle with Carlos. I was extremely uncomfortable. And before anyone says, she can bring whoever she wants, Dolly did not pay for the hotel room or contribute. I paid for it, and Lana contributed originally but changed plans last minute. Carlos ended up sleeping there and using the shower. The entire next morning, Dolly talked about him nonstop, his likes, dislikes, upbringing, family, hobbies, aspirations, goals, pets, everything. It became exhausting after about 30 minutes. Carlos is also a person of color. Dali is not. She kept mentioning how she had never brought a person of color home to her parents, almost like she was thrilled by the idea. She also mentioned that his family is religious. Coming from the same background, I told her that religious parents can be very hard to please, especially if you have tattoos, piercings, non-conservative clothing, or brightly colored hair. Ironically, Dali had all of those traits, while I did not. This will matter later. At this point, I told myself, not my circus, not my monkeys. Despite everything, she was still unsure about her actual boyfriend. While doing her makeup, she said, I love my boyfriend and all, but I just don't know how I feel. I'm really conflicted. I once again told her that her boyfriend wasn't treating her well, but she was rushing things with Carlos. I advised her to befriend Carlos while figuring herself out first, and to end things properly with her boyfriend if she felt that strongly. It went in one ear and out the other. On the last day of the convention, she and Carlos separated themselves from us and cuddled on a couch outside the convention center. After this, I distanced myself from Dali. She started feeling some type of way about me. She believed I was rooting for her downfall with Carlos, despite me repeatedly saying he sounded better than her boyfriend and that she should give him a chance. In January and February, she lied to me about their extravagant dates, movies, romantic dinners, park walks, when in reality, they were hooking up and watching movies on their phones in a parking lot. Those fancy dinners were McDonald's value meals. Dali didn't have a job, money, a driver's license, or her own place. She relied heavily on her boyfriend or her parents. She and Carlos would meet late at night. She had her boyfriend drop her off at her parents' place, only to be picked up by Carlos minutes later. Her boyfriend had no idea. Carlos knew she still lived with her ex and was okay with it. During this time, I had a friends with benefits situation with a guy I met on a dating app. I wanted more, but suspected it wouldn't work out. The girls knew this. Dali, however, seemed to relish that nothing good was coming from it and acted like she had won. In March, Dali officially broke up with her boyfriend after a massive argument. Before leaving, she wrote an 8-page note, college ruled, half insulting him, half talking about how she and Carlos would be together forever. Some drafts included racist language, claiming her boyfriend was cucked by a brown dick and praising Carlos for waiting a month to have sex. The final version was a mix of both. She needed a place to live. None of us could take her in. Eventually, her parents let her stay in their storage room with strict rules: no alcohol, no cat, no guests. 3 days later, she moved in and rehomed her cat with Jeannie's mutual friend. Shortly after, Carlos ended things, citing his overnight job, fire academy, long commute, and lack of time. They agreed to take a break. Carlos made his decision and officially ended things days later. Dali responded by sending him a long message insulting him, his character, and even his profession as a firefighter. In April, before Jeannie's birthday party, Lana told me Dali said she was going to tell me I could have Carlos. That crossed the line. I declined an invitation to hang out and explain my feelings respectfully. Dali exploded, demanded an apology, and accused me of inappropriate behavior at the rave, none of which was true. She claimed I made Carlos uncomfortable by touching him. In reality, I tapped his shoulder to get his attention over loud music. When she demanded I apologize to Carlos, I told her I cared about our friendship, not him. She said we couldn't be friends without an apology. I told her to have a good life and blocked her. Jeannie's party was cancelled. Afterward, Dali cut ties with everyone. Lana and Jeannie eventually confronted the situation, and the three of us grew closer. In May, Dali attempted to reinsert herself, stirred drama at a festival, and ultimately blocked Lana and Jeannie. Sometimes I wonder if I handled things wrong. Did she always dislike me? Was this inevitable? I never wanted Carlos. I have been cheated on before and would never do that to someone, especially a friend. Ironically, I ended up dating my FWB, and we've been happily together ever since. So, after telling this story many times, someone suggested I post it here. Am I the a-hole? If you have questions, feel free to ask. There is still a lot I had to leave out.